All right, we are trying this again. Woohoo! I apologize sincerely for all of the technical difficulties. Today has been long and frustrating, and it's only 12:40. But I'm really excited to finally actually get to send this to you. Now, we are being encouraged, and I completely agree with this, to limit our class time essentially to 20 minutes. So here goes my 20-minute timer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to project the PowerPoint and also draw at the same time so that it's not quite so boring. Yay! Let's get going. I hope you couldn't hear that. I'm gonna try and be a normal human too. We'll see if I can manage it. All right, 20 minutes, timer set. Woo! Main causes of World War I. So beautifully. The main causes of World War I make an acronym. And that acronym is MAIN. Oh my gosh. It's like we planned it to be this perfect. We did. We did, actually. All the history teachers got together and we were like, what would be the most perfect thing we could possibly do? And we were like, what if our acronyms matched what they meant? Anyways, so we're going to talk about it a little bit, and it'll come up on other slides and stuff like that. If you want to also draw some cool pictures, you are welcome to, but that's okay. All right, so our first one is M for militarism. Woohoo! Essentially, with militarism and this idea of militarism, all of these European states are starting to become things. They're starting to get together and to unify, and they have become actual states. So we have Great Britain, and we have France, and we have Germany, and Prussia. We always have Prussia. Now, all of these states are starting to interact with each other as well as full unified states, not just like little kingdoms beating each other back and forth, but as like Great Britain the thing. And they are starting to really, really compete, not just in the colonies, but also in Europe itself. So we have a whole bunch of little wars and skirmishes, like the Napoleonic Wars. We have a bunch of wars in the colonies, like the Boer Wars, and that whole everybody fights over Indonesia and India. So everybody is basically like, gee, you know what I could use more of? Guns. Do you know why I need more guns? So that I can hit these other people if I need to. So, Great Britain is getting some guns and some ships, and they're starting to build up. These are the guns. It's because that makes them spiky. When somebody bumps into them, they're protected. And then France is like, oh no, I have to get a bunch of guns too, because what if I bump up against Great Britain and I'm not protected? Then they're just gonna like wallop me and, run right over. And then Germany is like, ah, crap, I'm right next to France. And we remember what happened the last time France did this, so I better get a bunch of weapons too. Oh no, I better be protected as well. And then Prussia is like, we already had guns. Because our favorite thing is to, like, do military drills. So, like, we're just hanging out with all our guns for a long time. And everybody has a bunch of guns now. Now, the problem with this really is everybody starts getting itchy. When you have them, you want to use them. People don't really enjoy just sort of, hanging around doing drills. They want to actually do the fighting. We have these fancy new guns. Can we please do the fancy new guns? And so they start kind of looking for excuses, and things almost get really heated once or twice. So this situation of getting itchy trigger fingers sounds like the Wild West, but it kind of is. All of these groups wanting to start fighting with each other, they call the powder keg of Europe, because it's just waiting to be lit. It's just this huge barrel of gunpowder that's just waiting for that one spark to all explode and ready to go. Okay, so then our next one is alliances. this is very much like a spider web, alliances, because you have, whatchamacallit, you have like Serbia over here, which is connected to Russia, which is connected to France, which is connected to Great Britain. So all these guys are connected. And then you have, Germany over here, who's connected to Austria-Hungary, who's connected to the Ottoman Empire, who's connected to, Italy, who's connected to, et cetera, et cetera. So then when you have one of them, say Serbia, hit Austria-Hungary, this is almost like a really cool TIE fighter, like not quite, but almost. All the reverberations are felt along all the different lines of the alliance because they are all connected. So it's not just like, Serbia does one thing and it's only Austria. It hits everybody and it impacts everybody. Now, you might say to yourself, well, imperialism, how is that involved? All these colonies, they're so far away, Miss K. They're so far away. Well, first off, you have the competition for all of the different colonies. So you have all the European powers who are just like scrambling to try and pick all of them up. Like a piñata has been broken. Ooh, I'm going to draw a piñata. So we have a piñata. Doo-doo-doo. It's a llama piñata. Doo-doo-doo-doo. A lamayana. No, a lamayata? Whatever. It's a piñata. And then somebody hits it and it's like, bam! My llama piñata. He's sad. Sad. And his llama piñata is broken! And out of him come, Africa! And India! And China! And Indonesia. Indonesia's all the little islands. And all the other countries are like, quick, we have to grab what we can. We have to get all of the colonies that we can. So you have, Great Britain and Germany and France and Russia are all trying to grab parts of all the different, quick, grab all of the different parts of all the different colonies. So this also leads us back into militarism because they're going to use those militaries to defend their territorial holdings. Looking at you, Great Britain. But also because now, we have Great Britain and they have all these different colonies. So they have South Africa, they've got India, they've got, what's another good one I can think of? Oh, we'll throw Canada in there. Why not? And they have some trading interests in China too. So all of these guys are making, first off, raw products. So like from South Africa, diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. India, we have things like cotton. That's cotton. From Canada, we have maple syrup. Very, very necessary. From China, we have tea. Cup of tea, Gov. Ooh, it's a cup of tea. And all of these things, they turn into finalized products. And so all of these things are just making them huge amounts of money because they are not being fair with the prices that they are paying for these. So they're making a huge profit because they're paying very low prices for things that otherwise would be quite expensive. And then when they send the finished products back to South Africa, to India, cotton cloth, processed tea, other industrialized goods, they're making money off of them in that direction. Then all that money can go back to furnish their militarism. So it is quite the connected web. All of these things are just waiting for one thing to just light that powder keg. So we talked about this, but let's talk a little bit more about like the nation and nationalism kind of a thing. So modernization and Europe rising to global power leads to more intense rivalries. It's not like we're having world wars, but we're still having all these sort of little tiffs kind of a thing. And remember too that they had a whole idea with Metternich and the Congress of Vienna to try and make sure that this doesn't happen again. So that one specifically, they were aimed at France to be like, hey, we need to make sure France doesn't get super powerful anymore. They really, caused so many troubles with the Napoleonic Wars, and we need to make sure that we have a balance of power. These are really good, clear, easy to follow notes, obviously. So anyways, again, adding into this is the concept of nationalism. Oh, that's our N. I'm sorry. How could I forget about our N? Let's talk about nationalism. In case you're wondering what this thing is behind, I'm out in my she shed. It's so glorious and fun. But this is where I do most of my sewing projects, like in the summer and stuff like that. So what you see back under here, this is actually a board that I can use to help me measure things and also to cut my fabrics on. So it's pretty spiffy and handy dandy, but it's very boring colors, my bad. All right, so nationalism. How could I forget nationalism? It's the great evil of the 20th century. Or so many of my professors have said in the past. You decide. You may decide that, in fact, cigarettes are the great evil of the 20th century, or MTV Cribs. It's really up to you. Whatever you would like to choose for being your great evil of the 20th century, you go ahead. But like I said, I had several professors who were like, is it the great evil of the 20th century? Look at all of these world wars and things that happened as a result of nationalism. And we young, impressionable college students went, oh yeah, that's like so wise and insightful. Because that's absolutely how we talked all the time. Anyways, nationalism, this idea that a specific nation is superior to all others. So let's have a nation over here, and he's like, ha ha ha, I'm superior. And everybody else is like, why? 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 Be more constructive with your feedback. Why? They say, they're so confused. I don't get it. Oh, sad. Huh? Why? Because I'm insert nationality here. And like a fair amount of national patriotism is good and healthy. It helps you to unite. It helps you to progress forward. It helps you to all swim down together. We have seen so many examples of when nationalism is awesome. We're trying really hard to use our nationalism right now to help us unify in order to fight this virus. For those of you who may be watching this video years in the future, we are currently going through the COVID-19 world pandemic in 2020, which is annoying that it's called the COVID-19, but it's in 2020. Whatever. But anyways, we're doing distance learning because, everybody is afraid of dying. Rightly so. And right now, we are trying to use our concept of a nation as Americans to all help each other through this difficult time, sort of a thing. So the only issue comes when, let's say we refused help from another country just because it was from another country. Like, let's say Canada was like, hey, America, we see you're sad. Would you like some maple syrup and donuts? And we're like, ugh, no, Canada, you're the worst because we're superior, because we're American, and we don't take their delicious donuts and maple syrup. It's just rude. It's just rude. Anyways, so there's patriotism. Wow, patriotism. But then there's the other side, which is jingoism. And jingoism is the whole idea that you're like, I'm so into my country. If you say that you only think America is okay, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to punch you in the face, kind of a thing. So we're leading away from patriotism and we're headed towards jingoism during this time period. And this only gets worse the more there are winners and losers in these world wars, and everything gets even more and more and more defined. Now, the issues that they are having, Germany and Italy unify, and it's very exciting for them, but the issue that's really going on is Austria-Hungary, because Austria-Hungary is this huge thing. AH. Austria-Hungary. But inside Austria-Hungary, we have all of these different groups who identify with different things. Usually a nation has a shared culture or a shared language of some kind. So you probably have heard people say things like, "This is America, speak American." And then somebody comes back with, "Yo, dog, where my people at?" Kind of a thing. But that isn't always the same case anyways. Like, we could say we're Americans because we all value the Constitution, or because we all value McDonald's fries, something like that. Now, the Austro-Hungarian Empire is really suffering because they have so many internal groups who are just not feeling this whole empire thing. So, oh, hang on, we'll come back to that because I want this map. No, yes, this map. I want this map. So this map, sort of shows us all the different kinds of things we have in here. So first off, we have a couple Italians. And guess what they speak? Italian. But then we also have some Germans. And then we also have some Czechs who, even though you might think, oh, check yourself, it's not that hard to be part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire if you're a Czech. It is. They have a totally separate language. It's sort of like Germanic and Slavic had a baby, and then you make Czechoslovakian. It's very exciting. And then we also have a bunch of Poles, Polish people, and again, Polish is different than all these other languages. We have Ruthenians. I'm just going to call them Ruths, baby Ruths, because I might be hungry. Baby Ruths. We have a bunch of Slovaks who are totally different than Poles, and if you say to a Slovak, "Are you a Pole?" during this time period, they're going to be like, "How dare you?" We have a bunch of Croats and Serbs, and particularly the Serbs are going to be a big problem for specifically the Austro-Hungarian Empire. We have a bunch of Slovenians. We have a bunch of Magyars. What a great name. And then, of course, we also have the Romanians, who are different than the Romani people. The Romani people is the appropriate and not offensive word for people who used to be called gypsies. Gypsies is, in fact, a rude term, and I'm not going to use it anymore, but for old people like me, we're used to the other one. So be aware that Romanians are different than Romani. And Romanis are like hanging out everywhere and nobody likes them. And it's just very sad. Because why be so mean? Come on, that's not nice. Anyways, so the Austro-Hungarian Empire is like, we're all Austro-Hungarian! And the Romanians are like, we're not. How dare you? Oh, because there's also Austrians. And Hungarians. And the Germans are like, well, at least we're all Protestants, right? And all these guys over here are like, no, we are Eastern Orthodox Catholicism. How dare you? And the Italians are like, hey, wait, no, but we're Rocaths. Like, what are you doing over there? And they're like, well, we've just been doing this for forever. So the Austro-Hungarian Empire is like, how do we make everybody get along? And everybody's like, well, we don't want to get along. We want to be independent nations and not have this empire. And Austro-Hungary is like, shh. Anyways. Right? Okay, and then imperialism makes everything worse. Now, imperialism also impacts nationalism because everybody is like, look how great our country is. We have come in and we have conquered all of these other people. We are so great. If we weren't so great, then how come we were able to overrun India? If we weren't so superior, how come we were able to so easily take over Africa? Kind of a thing. Well, okay, there's lots of factors going into this, but that's the mindset that these guys have. We've talked about this before, so we're going to move on. But there's Alsace-Lorraine. It's so cute. It's so little. It is so coal dense. Alsace-Lorraine. Say it with me. Lorraine. Yeah, no, I know none of you said that, except maybe Delaney. Coal. Yes. Oh, sorry. And coal is useful for all the things, all the steam power. So not just like steamships, but also trains, planes, and automobiles. No, just trains at this time, because we don't have planes or automobiles. So we have trains, we have factories, we have steamships. helps people stay warm in the winter. But all of these things are really good, and they really want to make sure that they have Alsace-Lorraine because they want all of that coal. Okay, so we are just about done with this section. We will get to this in the next episode, all of the different alliances. But like I said, I really want to not take up too much of your time. I know that you're going to be hit with tons of work from all your teachers today, and I don't want to really add to that. So instead, I'm just going to draw you a little snail. And he says things, but I'm not there yet because I'm just snail. Whee! Snail! And this, oh, he has a foot fringe too. That's how they move. And the snail says, yay. Boop. Yay, it's a snail. Please come back for part 2 awfully soon.